This item has saved me so much time with mixing my paints. Hello, welcome back everybody. Today we're doing a video on everything you need to know to start acrylic pouring. First thing you're gonna need is acrylic paint. Now, a lot of people go crazy and they go spending a ton of money on like the premium acrylic paints when they just begin. There's no need to do that. You can get some really amazing colors from Walmart, or shoot, you can even get some paints from the Dollar Tree that are very inexpensive craft paints. Deco Art, apple barrel paints, those kind of paints are very easy to work with. They are fluid paints, which means they come pretty much already pre-mixed, ready to pour, but you're gonna wanna add something to it, and we're gonna get into that. I've also found that these Artist Loft pre-mixed paints are pretty cool. I really enjoy using these paints for my pours. The only downside to these is they are pretty expensive. I think they're $15 a bottle. So I would say if you're just starting out, kind of stick to these craft paints and whatnot until you progress a little bit more and you're willing to invest more money into it. I also really enjoy using these Artist Loft Flow Acrylics from, I've got these from Michael's. You can order them online. They come in a whole bunch of different colors. They're a little bit more fluid than the student paints, but you still need to use some kind of pouring medium to dilute these down. But these are great paints for base coats, great paints to do acrylic pours in general. You will be limited as far as colors are concerned though, because they only come in a certain amount of colors. A great medium for a beginner is Flood Floetrol. I know recently there's been kind of a shortage of it in the United States. One tip that I would give you is Flood Floetrol basically is a paint extender. It's used for paint sprayers and whatnot. So if you can't find any of this at your hardware store, Lowe's or Home Depot, you can go to the rental counter where they rent paint sprayers, and a lot of the time they keep this on hand there. So if it's not on the shelves there, definitely check at your rental counter and see if there's any available there, because a lot of times they hide it there. All right, then Glue-All. Glue-All is another great medium to use. Now, I have a recipe for how I mix this with water to get a good pouring medium. I will link it in the iCard above, right about there. And if you're interested in making a medium with Glue-All, I definitely have that resource for you. But this makes a very cheap, inexpensive, and fairly high quality pouring medium for you to get started with. Now, if you're wanting to splurge, of course, there's like Liquitex Basics. There's an Artist Loft brand pouring medium. There's tons of pro pouring mediums out there, but these are very expensive. I think this little bottle was like 30 bucks. So I would really suggest starting out, you start out with that Floetrol because it's very readily accessible, very easy to work with. If you don't know how to mix the Floetrol with paints, I will also put another iCard here. I have a video on how I mix these with paints. Watch that after you watch this video, please, and that should answer any questions you have. So the next thing is things to pour on. So I have found these to be a lifesaver, right? These are ceramic tiles that I got from Lowe's. This 4x4 ceramic tile cost me 15 cents. So they're super cheap, very inexpensive to use. This was probably 50 cents. It is a 6x6 ceramic tile, also from Lowe's. All I do is put some tape on the back of it so the paint doesn't get all over it, and it's good to go. Ready to paint with. You can also paint on traditional mediums like Substrates. As far as stretch canvas, I got this from the dollar store for $1. So this is a 6x8 canvas. I mean, of course you're getting what you pay for. It's not that greatly made, but when we're learning, a lot of materials are going to go to waste anyway, and we're all making mistakes, as you know. So great investment is to go to Dollar Tree, pick up supplies there, go to Lowe's or places like this and get some tiles and just have fun with it, because that's the whole purpose of this, is just to enjoy yourself, express yourself creatively, and have a great time doing it. So those are some of the things you can pour on. You can also pour on plastic, document protectors. You can pour on cardboard, thick paper, all kinds of stuff. So the sky's pretty much the limit. If it doesn't move, you can pretty much pour on it, okay? Okay, okay. The next thing we're gonna talk about is like bottles and cups and all that. So you are definitely going to need some cups, bottles, or something to mix your paints in. I get these from Walmart. They come in a big old pack of 100 for like $3, and they are very inexpensive and they last for a while. So you could mix your paint in these and then soak some water on the inside and the paint just comes right out. So these can be reusable. One thing that I found to be a lifesaver, I also got this from the Dollar Tree, is I don't know how well you can see that, but there are measurements written out on this. This is very handy for me when I'm mixing up my mediums, because if it's like 1 part paint to 1 part medium, put it all in the bottle, tighten the cap, shake it up, good to go. Same thing, it's a little harder to clean out the inside of these, but you can soak it in some rubbing alcohol and get most of the paint out of it. If you're wanting to splurge, or you go through a lot of cups all the time, I invested in these silicone cups because once the paint is dry, it just peels right off. If I can get that off, there you go. Once the paint's dry, it just peels right off the silicone and you can reuse it for another pour. It's super easy, super convenient. You can also soak these and get them off too. Now, stir sticks. You do not have to use these craft sticks, although these were from the Dollar Tree, and I got 100 of them for $1. It's pretty good. You will be going through a lot of stir sticks. So you can use coffee stirrers, you can use pretty much anything. A straw, you can use anything that you would use to mix paint. You can use your fingers if you really want to get like down and dirty with it, you could totally do that. But with these, you just mix up your paints, and then you can take a paper towel and dry this off, and easy peasy. It's all good to go. So, stir sticks. Next thing on our list is gloves. It is very advised that you use gloves. Now, you don't have to use gloves. You could do it barehanded. I know plenty of artists that don't use gloves at all. They enjoy the tactile feeling of having the paint on their hands, and it kind of helps them get more engaged with the process. I personally really dislike weeks at a time scraping paint out from under my fingernails or anything like that, getting paint all over my hands and arms. So I use gloves pretty religiously. I got a big old box of 100 gloves. This is again from Lowe's in their cleaning section. They're fairly cheap. You can even get little pouches of them like this. They're fairly cheap. I mean, with what's going on right now, the prices have jacked up a little bit, but I want to say $15 for a pack of 100. It's not too bad. I prefer the powder-free ones because when the powder gets on my hands and then I start touching things, powder gets all over everything. So I get the vinyl powder-free ones, and I love them. Another thing that's going to save you a ton of heartache and hassle is get yourself some plastic sheeting, garbage bags, puppy pads, newspaper, anything. But you're going to want to protect the surface you're painting on because you know as well as I do, acrylic pouring is a super messy process. I got this huge bag of plastic drop cloths. There's what, 10 of them in here? No, 12 of them. I got this for about $15 and they last forever because it's not just what you see here. It's not just that thin. It's 9 feet by 12 feet each one of these sheets. So I got a pack of 12 for like $15. Very cost effective. I love them. They will save your workspace, especially if you're working around carpet. Don't be like me. I used to not use plastic sheeting and I got paint all over my rugs and carpets and ruined a whole bunch of stuff. So use the plastic sheeting, use garbage bags, use newspaper, use whatever you can. Just protect the surface underneath. Okay, so this is not required, but I have used it and I will continue to use it because I enjoy it. Okay, so you can get little cheap butane torches, or I've even used the bigger torches like this one that uses propane. Got the spout from Lowe's and the cans of propane from Lowe's as well. You can also use a heat gun, which as you can see has seen a lot of use. I would suggest you get one. If you don't have one, it's not required, but I would suggest you get one anyway, because you can use these to pop the bubbles in your paint. You can also use these to help activate the silicone in your pour, which is very important, especially if you're using silicone. If you're not using silicone, still recommend getting one just because it will pop the bubbles in the paint. Because once your paint dries, if there's bubbles in it still, especially if you're using a glue pouring medium, it leaves a lot of pits in the paint, which if you used silicone, it makes it super difficult to get all that silicone out. So definitely would recommend you having a torch or a heat gun for sure. This next part is not required either, silicone. So you don't have to have this. As a beginner pourer, you definitely don't need it to create cells. But if you are just starting out and you're not very versed as far as paint densities and whatnot, and how to layer them properly, how to layer your colors, I would suggest just trying it, seeing if you like it. Yes, it does add a further step to the process, because if you plan on varnishing it or putting resin on anything, you're gonna have to make sure you clean all the silicone off first. And if anybody wants to know how to do that, I have a video on that subject, also cleaning the silicone off your paintings before resin or varnish, and I will link that in the iCard above. If you wouldn't mind, watch that video after you watch this one, and we will be good to go. All right, so I've had a ton of questions about how do I finish my paintings, how do I varnish my paintings. This Kamar varnish, super amazing. I love it, and it's very inexpensive. I get a can of this for like $5 at Walmart over in the craft section. Works like a dream. This is some Krylon triple thick clear glaze. It also works well. It is a little bit more expensive than the Kamar varnish, but it essentially does the same thing. So I would suggest, if you're gonna finish your paintings or you're gonna seal them with any kind of varnish, I would say go for this Kamar varnish before you go for this. But if they don't have this, then you got this. And there's also other professional varnishes out there that you can use to finish your paintings with. This item has saved me so much time with mixing my paints, getting the ratios correct. You don't have to have a digital scale as a beginner, but I have grown to love this thing. It lets you measure out the weights down to the 0.01 gram. And it really helps me when I want to get my colors dialed in or my ratios dialed in. It really helps me out when I'm experimenting with different mixtures of paint to see the effects that they give. So I would suggest, yes, use one. If you don't have one, it's not a necessity. You don't have to, but I love using my scale because it really helps me out. This is the last tip I'm going to give you, is invest in a color wheel. You don't have to buy one. You can look up an image of one on your phone, download it, and that way you have it. But it gives you a bunch of good information as far as what complementary colors are, triads, split complementary tetrads. This information is very helpful when you're trying to pick colors. And to all of you that ask me how I mix mine, I basically go off a color wheel for the most part of all of my paintings. Because if you start mixing colors that aren't meant to be mixed together, this is a whole nother video in itself. I'm not going to get into super detail about this, but if you start mixing colors that are too close on the color wheel, you're going to end up getting mud. It's going to end up not looking good, and you're not going to like your composition. You're not going to like the painting. I would say, yes, please get a color wheel. Definitely helpful. It is very beneficial for you to get one of these and use it to pick your color schemes for your paintings.
If you want to watch another video just like this, click the screen right now and I'll see you there.